3-minute warning Clubhouse edition.
Yes, it is Friday again, and so that means it's time for the Clubhouse. This is where we take our time and just talk about the week that was in sports, a little bit more laid-back atmosphere. My name is Michael Medina.
I'm David Griffin, and we are joined by some wonderful people. This is the full team is here. Full 3-minute warning team is here. On my right, I have Megan LaMontagne.
Hey guys, good morning.
And on my left, we have AJ Lawrence.
Hey, yo.
We are here. We're going to get right into it today. First topic, we're going to talk about some NFL trades, some rumors, some possibilities, some
Season
happenings.
never ends, man.
Never ends. Always going on. Whether it's positive or negative, it just keeps going. We're going to talk about Phillip Rivers specifically here, possibly linked to the San Diego Chargers. AJ, tell us about that.
Yes, so last month, Phillip Rivers made a few comments about not necessarily being too interested in moving to LA in the event the San Diego Chargers were to move in that direction in 2016. And we know that the Tennessee Titans have that number 2 overall draft pick, and the question is whether they're going to pick Marcus Mariota. But there's now a bigger question on the table. Is anybody interested in making a trade between the San Diego Chargers and the Tennessee Titans in terms of QBs? We know Phillip Rivers has been one of the top quarterbacks in the last 5 years. He had a 65.8% completion rating. He had 146 touchdowns and only I guess not only, but 77 interceptions, because I don't think he really had kind of that coverage that he needed. And so the question is, does he really want to stay in San Diego, or is Tennessee a better spot for him? What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is a real head scratcher for me because I don't think he should stay in San Diego, but I don't see why he'd want to go to Tennessee either. This is a guy, yeah, you're right. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, but he's 33, and there's absolutely nothing happening in Tennessee right now. Like, why would you, if you're Phillip Rivers, want to even go there and not play for a team that could contend? It's great for Tennessee if they can do it, because then they'd land the number 2 pick and they could probably end up getting Mariota. So they're planning for the future. But San Diego, I don't see what they would, or I'm sorry, Tennessee, I don't know what they would get. You know, it just doesn't make sense.
For Rivers, I think it's more a contemplation between, okay, still wanting to play the game, but also doing what's best for his family. I mean, 7 kids. He grew up in Alabama, went to school in Charlotte. I think he thinks that Tennessee is more home, and LA wouldn't really be a place for his family. I think really that's kind of his balance and struggle right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. He doesn't seem like your typical NFL quarterback. Like, he's really about family. It's like he could probably retire if he really wanted.
Right, because
I don't think he would care.
Yeah, he's all about family, always with his family.
And his wife is actually from Nashville, so it doesn't put him that far away. And it's kind of a matter of he's played a number of years now in the league, and so the question is like kind of a transition. How is he going to make his life work in the long run? And so I think he is thinking about his family, but who knows if the Chargers are going to let him go. He's still under contract until next year, and they could franchise tag him. And you never know what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting seeing how things unfold with the draft.
See, let's talk about family is great. You know, I'm glad this guy's a family man. That's so good. I want to know about championships. Phillip, where are you going to go and you're going to win championships? Do you want to end your career in the Tennessee Titans?
Oh.
You know,
I mean, I just don't know if I don't want to see him go down like that.
How is it he gets so close? He was a stunner last season, and he always gets this close, and then all of a sudden it falls apart. So it's kind of like, you know, you almost change your priorities because you've been that close, and it's kind of like, are they really actually going to make it over the line? Nah.
True. I do feel with San Diego, they've got, like, some of their weapons are getting a lot older. Antonio Gates can only play for so much longer, right?
Yeah.
Not trying to sound biased here or anything like that, but Chicago has a lot of offensive weapons.
God,
I'm
here
just
you
saying.
go.
Not much on defense, unfortunately, so we can't help you with defense. But offense, there are a few choices there.
How did we get in Chicago? We were in Tennessee.
If you were doing a segment with Michael Medina, we will get in Chicago at least 2 or 3 times.
Do you think if Phillip Rivers was to stay with the Chargers and they did go to LA, do you think that he would play his best games? Because if his heart's not in it, if he doesn't want to be there, is that going to affect his playing?
I think the thing is I think that's a really good point, because he might be inspired to play his best games. He may have an amazing season, but without the pieces around him, he'll never succeed beyond that.
That's a good point, but he just strikes me as the type of guy. He's a competitor. He's got that fire in his belly. So I think he would get over it eventually. I don't think he'd like it at first, but I think he'd get over it. He'd want to win, because again, it's like you're out there to compete.
You're right, he is getting closer to the end of his career, and it's like, okay, you know, why make a drastic change when when you could end with a championship and go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Nice ring.
Because he has to see Brady just won another ring, won his 4th title.
Of
Brady's
course he
37
did.
years.
Oh, yes,
But that's
please
going to
go.
end next
But you
year,
know what,
this year,
though?
because Buffalo Bills are coming. They're coming for the
Interesting,
Patriots.
though.
Oh, Lord. And now we're in
Now we're in Buffalo. We're in
Now
Buffalo. We're going to Buffalo.
But interesting because in his draft class, Roethlisberger has a couple of rings. Manning has a couple of rings.
Yeah.
He was one of the big players going into that draft. He's got nothing.
Well, he does have a bolo tie.
That is
Let's
true.
give the
I
man his
stand
bolo
corrected.
tie.
I stand
Thank
corrected.
you.
And he has a nice family.
Yes, he
Yeah,
does.
Which is
yeah.
great.
Family
All about the
guy.
championship.
7 children.
kids.
That's already. Who needs 4 Super Bowl rings?
Why do
when
you
you got
think Tom
7
Brady
kids.
is
There
such a
you
good
go.
quarterback? He has a lovely wife and a great family.
And a great Uggs contract.
And Under Armour. Don't
And
forget
Under Armour.
Under
It's
Armour.
just so handsome.
So handsome.
So Phillip Rivers, let us know what you think. Hashtag 3MW here at thestream.tv. Let us know, should he stay or should he go? Family, championships, or both. Be like Tom Brady has both. Let's do both.
Why can't you
I'm
have it
going for
all?
both. Let's just have it all. Wait, actually, before we go to the next topic, I want to, because we're going to talk about Jameis Winston later. Okay, let's say they do trade. They make the trade. He goes away. Who should they pick up? Marcus Mariota or famous Jameis Winston?
Oh,
all of his
Mariota.
drama.
Mariota.
There he is. There's
I'm-
famous
I go
Jameis.
I
Mariota.
couldn't imagine Jameis Winston. I think he would lose his mind in San Diego. San Diego State, school's enough. I've heard some good times, good partying there. No.
Well-
Yeah, he needs
SoCal,
to
we
go-
can't handle Jameis. It's cool. You stay on that coast.
You can get the
do your
crab
thing.
fresh out the
Love
ocean.
you.
Go to the Steelers.
He may have East Coast. East Coast
That's
may
true,
play over
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Now, we've heard a few things about Jameis. I mean, putting him in that world of temptation might not be a good idea for him, but we'll see.
All right, so we're going to go on to our next topic here. We're going to talk about some NBA playoffs. Playoffs are here.
Back.
Start tomorrow night. Exciting. Got some great matchups here in LA. We've got the Clippers. So many good storylines. Michael, tell us about the NBA playoffs.
Oh, well, they're back starting Saturday, so I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this for a while. We have a lot of good storylines, and with any postseason, really, that's all you're going to get. So, let's start off. We've got Clippers San Antonio. So these are two teams that were super just red hot to finish off the season. Clippers won something like 14 of their last 16, or that might have been San Antonio, but Clippers did basically the same thing. This is going to be an amazing first-round match. I mean, damn, this is right. This could be like a Western Conference Finals. You know what I mean? These are great teams, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Another matchup, I'm actually interested looking into Houston. Because you look at a team like Dwight Howard, only played about 40-something games last year. He was hurt a
41.
lot. James Harden stepped it up in a big way. So I mean, he's not my MVP, but he earned at least a notable mention because what he did for that team to keep them in. This is the issue I had with Russell Westbrook. You look at Harden and what he did to keep Houston relevant, keep them in the playoff race. Westbrook couldn't do that, but Harden did. So now that we have Dwight Howard back, are they going to gel? Are they going to play well? Can they win? We'll see.
We had an interesting topic Michael and I discussed on 3 Minute Warning earlier in the week about prestige versus record. Clippers have the better record. San Antonio has the prestige. They have the age. They have the experience. They have Greg Popovich. He's one of the best coaches in the league. They have 4 or 5 titles, Michael?
4 now, I believe.
4 titles now? 4 titles?
Five,
with
no,
Tim
I think it's 5.
5 with Tim
Five.
Duncan and all that crew over there. So, I mean, I would think San Antonio has a good chance of upsetting Clippers. Of course, we're in LA. It'd be cool to see the Clippers win. It'd be a great story for LA.
Funny thing is it even an upset? Would it be an upset if
I
they
know,
beat
that's a
the
good
Clippers?
point.
question,
Yeah,
yeah.
good point. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Although it continues to amaze me how the Spurs, with their longevity, because you do have these very senior players who are very seasoned and have been around a long time, how they're out there playing these young bucks. And it just kind of shows you how, having that wealth of experience and knowledge on the court, that can beat a lot out of just youth.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Spurs. I kind of want them to beat the. I don't know. I've always liked the Spurs.
They have a
Just a
great,
good
they have a
team.
great fan base.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. It's a city, but it's a small town feel to
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Just kind of homegrown. They don't have a lot of sexy stars.
Yeah.
They have a lot of just guys that are hard workers.
exactly,
I mean,
That's the
Exactly.
thing. I mean, this is a team that's one of the better teams in the league and really one of the better teams really of all time now, really think about what they've done. People don't really talk about them that much.
No.
You know what I mean? And not as much as they do the Lakers, who are just horrible this year.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, they don't really get it that much attention. So I think that's why they almost always seem like an underdog.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Although one thing I'm really excited about, just because Chris Paul and is for some reason hitting men in their nether regions, and Blake and always getting fouled. I'm jazzed about the drama. This is Hollywood. It's our #1 export is drama, and I'm excited to see what goes down at the Staples Center with the Spurs because Tim Duncan and those older, more seasoned, they're not going to try to play with Chris Paul if they does some crazy. I cannot wait.
Mike, let's talk about your favorite player in the NBA. Your MVP pick, LeBron James.
What?
Not Derrick Rose,
Wow.
LeBron James.
There we go.
Let's talk
LeBron.
about LeBron
LeBron.
James, because he is French. He's very French.
LeBron.
Can LeBron James lead the Cavaliers to a championship? Or at least can they lead him to the finals with Kyrie and Kevin Love at his side?
Interesting that you should ask, can he lead? Has he ever really led
Are you kidding?
a team?
He's coaching a team right now.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
true.
he
I
is
stand
the coach.
corrected.
He is the
He did
coach.
coach Cleveland too. No, but I mean, I think about. Hey, I think it's possible. This is a team that really got hot halfway through the season. You look at Kevin Love. You look at Kyrie Irving, one of my favorite players in the league. I love Kyrie Irving. LeBron's still playing well. We talked about this before. He's 30 now. He's taken a step back. He's still good, still effective, but now he's got this team to help him out. So I think. I think he can still do his thing. I think they're
showing some LeBron support.
a little bit.
LeBron's busy. He's got a show on Stars. He's doing everything. He's a mogul.
Yes,
Trying to make it happen like Jordan.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, now we can talk a little bit about Chicago.
Finally.
Oh, my goodness. Got to talk about Chicago. So there's a small team in Chicago called the Bulls. They have a few titles. They may have
one
had a
or
famous
two.
player play for him back in the day. I forgot his name. But Derrick Rose is a storyline here. He has been injured. Look at poor Derrick. He looks sad right there. He just always looks banged up. He's getting hurt a lot. 3 years in a row now. Major injuries, major surgeries. Can he stay healthy, you think, Michael? Can he lead Chicago?
That's a
the
very good
finals?
question. That is a very good question. It's not. See, right now we have a healthy-ish Derrick Rose back from an
Lord.
injury. I think this is an entirely different Bulls team when they're all there, because a healthy Jimmy Butler, Rose out there, Joakim, Dunleavy, Paul Gasol, who's just blew my mind this year. I did not expect this season out of Paul Gasol. I thought he was done. This is an entirely different team. This is a team I really think can give like Cleveland or even Atlanta a run for their money. I know we beat Atlanta to finish off the season, it's regular season, it's whatever. But nonetheless, I think this is a solid team that can really go deep into the playoffs.
Okay, it's early. It's just starting tomorrow. Let's do some picks.
Some picks.
Megan, if you had to pick a champion today, who would
Okay.
it be?
I'm actually gonna say the Golden State Warriors. Yeah.
Oh.
I just we were talking about underdogs, and I just feel like I think Michael and I were talking. It's been since '76.
Something like that.
And I just love Stephen Curry, and I'm just so those 3-point shots get me in the heart every time. So I'm really excited to see what they have in store.
AJ?
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and back her play. I do think it's the Golden State Warriors time. It's just we've seen an incredible season with Steph Curry and all the performance he's put up, even in practice with those 77.
Yeah,
there he
77.
goes. There he goes. And so I think that this is their year, that they're going to drive it right on home.
Yeah.
I would love to say Chicago. I'd love to say Chicago.
I get
But
Chicago.
I've been on Curry this whole entire season. He's my MVP. That is my guy. Golden State all the way this year.
I am really hoping that we get a Cleveland Golden State final.
That would be
I think that would be
beautiful.
fun. Good ratings, a lot of drama.
Hawks get no love, man.
Yeah, I know the Hawks have the best record, but who cares about the Hawks? Who
They
cares
were
about
they
Atlanta?
were cute in the beginning. They had a lot of it was nice. It was cute, but it's not something that we're going to talk about people getting championships about.
There's just
Yeah,
no love
I think
for
you're
the
right.
birds. I'm going to go with Cleveland though. I think it's LeBron's
Oh.
destiny to bring one home. I think it's going to be an awesome story.
He rose up.
I'm
he
a
certainly
witness.
rose up to the challenge.
I am a witness. He rose up to the challenge. He accepted the call back home. They were burning jerseys a few years ago. Now he's the #1 selling jersey.
Do you think it was kind of like all of this Kevin Love back and forth, how we're doing, how we're not doing, people maybe hurt or spasms and whatnot, that was all drama to lead up to the fact that all of a sudden they are just going to activate and then just tear everything
I
up
think
and
so.
win, and we're just going to be like, whoa, I didn't know that was coming.
I think there might be some truth to that. I mean,
Yeah.
sports is entertainment, and there's a lot that we don't know that goes on behind closed doors. So there's always a lot of that sprinkled in. So yeah, I can see that.
It's exciting. This is going to be a fun time. NBA playoffs, they begin tomorrow. Watch them. Enjoy. Have a great weekend watching these. We're going to our next topic now. We're going to talk about some NASCAR and this new digital dash.
I know.
Digital
I
dash.
was so excited when I saw that. So the story pretty much broke yesterday, and it wasn't really that even big of a story. I kind of had to dig to find it, but so NASCAR is implementing a digital dashboard, and this is huge for the sport because not only is it going to make decisions quicker for the crew chief and also the driver, but also I think it's going to be a phone application, but you're actually going to be able to see the digital dashboard as a fan and you see exactly what the driver is seeing. Like, so if you love Denny Hamlin, you can see exactly what he's seeing in front of him as he's driving.
Wow.
This is a game changer for the sport. This is amazing. I'm so freaking pumped.
Yeah.
Really?
I get to be in the car with them.
I couldn't
So
tell.
excited. I mean, NASCAR needed something like this because as we, people, some of you out there are probably like, NASCAR, what? But they haven't been reaching the ticket sales that they've been wanting. And they needed something flashy like this. And now it's really, the fans are in the driver's seat, potentially.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about it?
I love it because I mean, whenever I'm watching those races, you look, you see like the dials moving and everything. You hear the crew chief just talking to the guy, but you never know. Like, I want to see what the fuel gauge looks like.
Yes.
I want to see how fast
How
they're
much
going.
tire pressure they have left? Yeah.
Yeah, how they brake, what they're, because I mean, seeing it digitally, because we're in the age of digital. We have all of our iPads and stuff here that we're using, and you want to see this things out live in color. It's going to be great.
It's amazing. I'm not really a NASCAR fan, but just that type of immersion into the sport. Imagine if you could actually watching a football game. See what plays are going to be called.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Just see what goes on like in the dugout of a baseball game. So I think that's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
So this is going to be happening. It can happen as early as August 5th, but starting in 2016, every single car needs to have it. So this will be huge. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into NASCAR, and a lot of people, it's when it comes to like football and everything like that, it's like the player, the team, and the coach. But there's like the fundamentals of the car, and then the crew chief, and then the pit crew, and there's all these different variables. So having this, it gets us one step closer to, hopefully some more excitement, some more ticket sales, and boost it back up.
So I'm curious, just as a spectator, I've seen some Indy races, but I'm curious about, like, let's say, like when Michael's breaking down football play, or when AJ's breaking down a USC baseball game, seeing shifts and how the outfielders are positioned and all that. What is it with NASCAR and Formula One? Because when we're watching it as casual fans, a lot of people, which is kind of bad, it's like, oh, maybe there'll be a wreck, which of course that's very dangerous. You don't want to see that happen.
Sure.
But that seems to be one of the draws. So what are people that are fans of NASCAR seeing? Like, are they seeing shifts, or how people are, going behind or passing? Like, how does that work from a fan's perspective?
Well, there's definitely different types of NASCAR fans. I mean, you do have the fans that go for the thrill, and of course, like, these races are long, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes, if I'm watching a race, like, will I flip back and forth between something else when we're only on like lap 40? Of course, because the last 10 laps, last 20 laps is when things get really exciting, because the cars are starting to get closer together. It's obviously exciting when you have a caution, or you do have, like, hopefully a non-detrimental wreck, because then it brings the cars closer together. Then when they have the restart, and then you're like, oh my gosh, is something going to happen? Who's moving forward? And there's always different leaders, and someone that could be in the lead for the entire race could blow a tire, pull into the pit, and then you have a whole new lineup. So there's all these different things that can happen, but I think the most exciting thing is really what I was just talking about. If you love cars, if you know how the machine operates and works, and you know why the crew chief and the driver and the pit crew are making the decisions that they're making, it's kind of like the game of chess. You need to always be one step ahead. You need to always be thinking, and that's the beauty of NASCAR. You need to be thinking in your head, like, okay, what's coming next? He's going to come into the pits. Then I need to be smart about this if I want to stay in the lead. It's strategy.
For me, it's always the gas that always fascinates me. Is how they know, like, when they go in the pit, because you lose time. So when you go in the pit, you have like, we have to pit. Like, I always want to know how they do that. So seeing that dash, seeing the fuel, I think more than speed, I want to see the gas gauge. That always just fascinates me, how those guys conserve gas. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, it's and how many tires that they have waiting just lined up, like how fast.
Those boys can change them tires.
They can move.
Oh,
man.
yes,
But you know what's incredible? The tire technicians, as soon as they pull off tires, they don't just throw them away. They're writing things on them. They're scratching. They're they're scraping off to see. I mean, I'm not a tire technician, but there's so much mathematics that goes into it, and how they tore the tire based on how they're driving. It's those little things that get the NASCAR fans excited.
Yeah, and that's actually very beautiful, because I'm not necessarily a NASCAR fan, but the fact is you recognize the depth of science and math that goes into it, and being able to make sure that certain numbers are on and off, and just what you're reading into in the analysis, so that the racer will perform as well as possible.
100%.
Huge.
So racing's changing. It's going digital. Digital age. Get your iPad out. You're sitting there watching we got the race on Bristol. Just check it out, and I mean, that's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Actually, I would download an app and check that out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd learn something about the sport too.
For real.
So we're gonna go into next topic. Not as lighthearted as the other ones. Got to talk about famous Jameis again. Either he's doing something good or he's doing something wrong. This time he didn't really. Well, we don't know. hasn't really done anything wrong right now, but he is being sued by a young woman who allegedly claimed that he allegedly raped her. Of course, he said it was consensual. It was never brought to trial. No charges were laid down. He was never, arrested or anything like that. But this is a civil court case. Right now, the sum, I believe, is $15,000. That could change, so I think that's just a baseline right there. But again, this comes up in the news 2 weeks from the draft. It's very close. I mean, he's about to make a lot of money. Not, again, I don't know the particulars. None of us were there, so we're not going to make any claims, of course. But AJ, can you start breaking this down a little bit from a legal standpoint? Just what's going on here?
Well, I haven't looked specifically at this case, but the way I would foresee it, because the thing is Jameis Winston's going to be worth a lot more post-draft after, he goes with his team, they decide on a contract and how that's going to work, than he is right now. But I would foresee that the reason that the woman is suing him for the money now is because we're running on what they call a statute of limitations, which means that under Florida law, you can only bring a claim within a certain number of years. And since the alleged rape happened, 3 years ago almost, she's probably running up against a statute of limitations on certain of her claims. And so now she had to file the lawsuit just so she can put it on the record and be able to continue to pursue those claims. And so that's why I would think that she's pursuing it right now. But it's going to be interesting how it unfolds. Do you all think, I guess, that it would affect his draft stock?
Well, I think in any sport, NASCAR, football, golf, perception is everything. Some people perceive you. I mean, you might not have ever done anything in your life, but let's say let's say somebody came up to me and said, David, I heard you, punch 3 guys here, and I heard you punch 3 guys the other night. Look at Aaron Hernandez. It's like, I heard you killed this guy, and then I heard you were in a drive-by in Florida. You have 2 cases pending. It's like perception. So even if you didn't do anything wrong, people perceive you a certain way. Jameis has built up a lot of bad perceptions about him with all that kind of stuff.
We talked about this the other day on the show, talking about how lately he's been doing and saying all the right things. And he kind of has to. He's trying to change his image because he is trying to get drafted. Right? I mean, he will get drafted. But he's got to, this is his package. He's selling himself right now. So he has to look good. This is not a good time for something like this to happen. I don't think it's really, I know we were talking a lot about this actually before the show. I don't think it's going to affect his draft stock. I think people that are set on taking him are going to take him because they already know about the whole crab legs situation or like the profanities and all the stuff when he was yelling at school and whatnot. So they already weighed in all the pros and cons. So at this point, if they already know whether or not they're going to take him, right? So this is just something else.
My question is, why is she just filing this now? I get the statute of limitations, but it's been 3 years. I mean, this has been weighing heavy on her mind and something that she's wanted. Why now? Like, why when the draft pick is coming?
They were doing an investigation because it had been handed off to so many departments and moved various places. And I know they had the school board kind of looking at it. And then also now Florida is doing an investigation into how it was handled. And so there are all of these moving parts to kind of decide more on maybe the criminal end, you'd say, almost. Okay. And so now it's kind of time for the civil, because the same thing we'll see with the Hernandez case. Now that the criminal trial's over, I'm quite certain that the family's going to bring a civil suit.
Okay. And what's interesting is Florida State is actually is being sued as well. She's suing them as well for wrongful, the way that
kind of just dismissing.
Dismissing, and she felt threatened and she didn't feel safe on campus and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting to see, though. We're talking about, of course, all week Aaron Hernandez. Big news, life in prison, no parole, until the appeal, whatever that happens. And it's interesting that a lot of these things you happen to see in basketball and football, heavy. Now there's crime everywhere. Everybody has crime. There's domestic violence everywhere. I mean, every other sport has it, but especially with basketball and football, a lot of guys get in trouble. Adrian Peterson's just reinstated, in the NFL. And it's just interesting, this whole culture of that, these young guys, and you feel bad because you don't want them to get in trouble, but they do have to pay for their crimes at the same time. And it's just kind of sad to see that we're seeing this in sports right now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, I know I kind of made a joke earlier about like Major League Baseball, how like I guess their version of this would be all get caught for PDs. You know what I mean? But it's a shame. And again, we talk about this. A lot of it has to do, again, with these guys, their upbringing, where they're from, and how they're given this amazing opportunity to play pro sports, but they can't leave that old life behind. They've got to bring it with them. They think they can have their cake and eat it, too, and it just doesn't work that way.
Not to get too hip-hop about it, but you always hear Dre say, I think one of his lines, he said, what if people wanted you killed? You'd probably move to a new house on a new hill. Like Dre and those guys don't they don't hang out where they used to hang out. They hang out like in Hollywood Hills and Beverly Hills, or where their houses are, Calabasas. They don't they stay out of that. You know, and then you have, of course, a guy like Suge Knight who's
Yeah.
stays in that the whole time, and then see what happens
Yeah,
there.
and that's the problem, though. A lot of these guys are young. A lot of these guys are in their early 20s, so they think they can still live that life because it's what's popular. It's what all their other friends, the other teammates are probably talking about.
Right.
Dre's already, what, in his, like, 50s now? Something like that. So
50,
he's already realized, he realized this long ago. It's like, screw that, you know, I'm trying to get
It's
mine.
almost like, and maybe they have this, and I'm not aware of it, but it's almost like when you have young players, whether it's NBA, NFL, is there some kind of program that they have where they can deal with like the money and all the fame that's coming to them? Do they have that?
It's
Yeah,
short. The
they
NFL
do.
has it, but it's like you take one class. I think it's like their rookie season, and they're done with it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And they're kind of like they're so like money hungry and
I'm
like
sure they just sleep
they're
it
just
on
like
it.
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And you have to realize, too, they're very young, and
Yeah.
they may not necessarily have kind of the wherewithal to know, to trust certain people who are around them. And then also, you have to realize, if this is where I come from and this is my home, I have a loyalty to that. I'm not necessarily going to go and move elsewhere and hang out with all new people. This is what I know, and this is what I trust. And so I don't think it's so easy for these players to disassociate themselves with their families and their lifestyle that they grew up with. But also, you know, I think there is some kind of issue that also should be discussed in terms of you are taught to be an animal out there on the field, to kill. Like you almost have a militaristic kind of just animal kind of drive and desire, and it's hard to shut that off. And then you also have a lot of the stress that sits on your shoulders in terms of maybe this might be the most money you ever made or your family's ever made, and it could all be gone away in one play if you get hurt. And you also have women throwing themselves at you. You have money management. There are so many factors and so many stressors that can contribute, not to make an excuse in any way for anybody's behavior. But there are just so many dynamics going on, and the nature versus nurture and what's responsible for these kind of actions.
Yeah, tough subject. Tough subject. This happens. It's just the reality of life. Happens everywhere in life. But we're going to go on to something a little more positive right now. We're going to
Switch
get a little more
gears
upbeat.
again.
Yeah, going to get down here a little bit. Get a little down. We're going to upbeat to end the show here. We're going to talk about what to look out for this weekend, what to watch. We're all going to be watching certain things. We got shows, we got movies. We have sporting events, of course. A lot of stuff happening this week in NBA playoffs starting. So what's everybody watching? Start with Megan.
I'm going to be watching Bristol, baby. We're going racing, short track racing at Bristol on Sunday, and Bristol is a winner all the time. So I'm like super stoked to watch it.
AJ?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and knock in two things. I'm going Clippers Spurs, which will be Sunday. I think it's 7:30 here in the Pacific time, which will be fantastic. But also I'm going to go ahead and go local, and I'm going to say USC versus Oregon. You know, USC coming off of their loss versus UCLA last weekend, their first series loss. And this Pac-12 matchup is going to be very interesting to make sure that they are truly the playoff contenders that we know the Trojans to be.
Yep. I actually have three things. Arsenal versus Reading, FA Cup semifinal. Hopefully we're defending FA champs. Hopefully we'll defend the crown and we'll get to that final again. NBA playoffs again, starting Saturday. I'm so excited to see what my Bulls are going to look like. Last but certainly not least, it is a great day today because yesterday Chris Bryant was finally called up to the Chicago Cubs. He will be making his major league debut today. He's in the starting lineup, batting fourth. A new era in Chicago starts today.
That's good for Chicago sports. We'll see how that all works out for Michael and his team.
Exactly.
Come next week, you see me wanting to hang myself.
You might want to put your stock in the Blackhawks, all right? I'm just letting you know where things are
Blackhawks
winning in
good. Yeah,
Chicago.
good. So we got NHL playoffs starting. My Buffalo Sabres are sadly not in it. Rangers played last night, so maybe I'll root for the other New York team. Can't go wrong with the Rangers. As far as for me, I'm also in the soccer camp as well. European football, Chelsea versus Man United. Two of the biggest teams in British Premier League going at it. Chelsea, #1, looking to win it all. Michael, I know you're hoping Arsenal's going to get there, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
I need a draw.
Don't think it's going to happen. I think the Chelsea Blues are going to win it. Northwest London represent. That is our show for today. Thank you for joining us here on 3 Minute Warning, Clubhouse Edition. As always, send in your thoughts, comments, concerns, whatever, #3MW here at thestream.tv. As always, I'm David Griffin. You can find me on Twitter at GriffinDE. And where can everybody find you, AJ?
I am at the AJ Lawrence on Twitter and on Instagram.
Megan?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Meg Lamontagne.
And my co-host, Michael?
And you can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and David and myself are here on the stream.tv on the Arrow After Show.
All right, folks. AJ, Michael, and myself will be back here Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I said p.m. on the Arrow After Show. Messed that up. Oh, boy. For a 3 Minute Warning. So we will see you next week.